Google Marketing Live 2026 wasn't about like better automation. It was just really about Google handing over a lot of the marketing and advertising to AI. How's it going, everybody? Another episode of the PPC Cave. Today is episode 114. And before I get into the topic, I want to talk to y'all about our sponsor, Opteo. Opteo has been with us for so long now. If you have multiple clients or you have an issue with figuring out what you need to do for specific clients, maybe you get like what we call writer's block as PPCs, where you just don't know what to do, don't know what metric to dive into, what to do as optimization or management for a specific account. Opteo is your solution, especially now with their new features coming into play where a lot more AI is integrated with the full software. It's so much easier for you to just go in 5 minutes, do that to-do list me and Shakira talked about. If you don't know about that, you could go 2 episodes ago. I think it's 112 or 111, something like that. Just go back and you could see Shakira actually does a quick prompt to Opteo for any of her accounts. It's just a to-do list, and it goes through and gives you the direction that you need to go so that you could be an efficient and not a time waster PPC manager. Opteo.com/the PPC Cave. Upgrade your 14-day trial to a 28-day trial today. So yeah, we are episode 114, and today's episode is Google Marketing Live 2026 recap. Google Marketing Live 2026 recap. Where do we start? Overall, I always not laugh, but I'm just entertained with what this is. It's like if you remember Steve Jobs, when he would introduce a new product, and he would do his keynote for Apple. I think they try to just kind of like, it's super, I don't know, super techy, and then everyone is just there to kind of like worship the other person, and it's like kind of like a cult, I feel like. But we work on Google Ads and Google marketing, advertising. All these things are super relevant to what we do as PPC managers. So we have to kind of be there, and understand and be there, and be along for the ride, right? So I think it's just important for us to always do this. We always do the recap. We did the recap last year. And this year, it's kind of the same. It's really just rolling out and introducing and understanding that AI is here to stay. They put a lot of stock into Gemini, put a lot of resources into Gemini. So now it's beginning to be able to be integrated with all things Google Ads, all things marketing, advertising. So I think the big building block or the big overall umbrella is it's becoming an AI first advertising landscape and ecosystem. And Gemini is kind of taking the lead across all platforms of search, shopping, creatives, measurement, analytics, campaign management. I think it's just letting people know overall that there is going to be that big shift, and advertisers will just basically provide the goals and business context, and AI is somehow going to do the rest, and we're just obsolete. No, I'm just playing. We're not obsolete. I think we're still very, very much needed in this industry. But yeah, the core themes, number one is search is becoming more conversational. So as we know, back in the day, you go on google.com, red Nike shoes, that's pretty concise, pretty just direct to the point. Their whole saying is it was basically a keyword and you get a click, but now it's more so conversational. So you have a conversation, a recommendation, maybe multiple recommendations, and then leading either from a transaction, or it's leading to a transaction or some type of opt-in. And I think some of the announcements they have is AI mode ads, direct offers within Gemini business agent for leads, and conversational search ads. I think the takeaway for all of this is essentially search ads are becoming more AI generated, and recommendations instead of traditional keyword ads, right? So that does make sense now that ChatGPT or OpenAI has their beta. And if you haven't listened to this, I think it's 2 episodes ago, me and Ryan discussed what the implications are, how that looks for the OpenAI ChatGPT ads beta. And I think this is on par. Obviously, it's going to become more conversational. It's just going to be less concise. and it's going to go through maybe back and forth a couple times before you actually find a call to action of a website being recommended to the user, to the searcher, or to somebody actually interacting with the search engine. So I think that's fair to say that, yeah, it's definitely going to be more conversational. Two, I believe Google really wants to own some type of commerce, some of that commerce pie. What they introduced is Universal Commerce Protocol, UCP, Universal Cart, and AI powered shopping ads. Basically, AI assisted checkout, cross platform shopping, and conversational purchasing. I think the takeaway for that is Google wants to become the transaction layer between shoppers and merchants. They've probably seen Shopify or even Squarespace or all these different backends kind of get that piece of the pie. And Google's really, I think Google just has that shiny thing syndrome. You know, when they say like entrepreneurs can't focus on one thing because there's shiny object syndrome, where now it's like they really want to dip into the pie of getting maybe that transactional fee. So setting up and purchasing within their own infrastructure, if it be Google Shopping or Universal Cart or Universal Commerce Protocol, UCP. I think that's kind of the next layer of what they want. And of course, the Amazons and eBays of the world just sit back and relax and pick up that processing or selling fee just like that. So I think Google really wants to be a part of that. Third, first party data is just becoming more mandatory. Almost every feature really just relies on CRM data, enhanced conversions. I know they push that. I know if you don't have enhanced conversions set up through like Shopify's YouTube and Google app, you get that, like, I feel like it's a monthly email. Your enhanced checkout is not set up properly. You're missing blah, 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 blah. If you're hard coding it. And, I tell my clients, like, hey, relax. Like, it's hard coded in there. We're not using the app. So I think they're really trying to push for that, get enhanced conversion set up through the app. But yeah, almost every features relies on like offline conversions, lead quality signals, and I think one of the biggest updates that mentioned is journey aware bidding, and that just basically integrating the whole journey, not just the top of the funnel, the middle of the funnel, the bottom of the funnel. They've kind of repackaged this so that it's a little different, but this is kind of been the same thing that they've been doing. How they've been introducing data driven attribution. It takes the whole length of the journey, not just the front end or the back end or the middle end. But they also introduced lead intent scores, lead journey mapping, enhanced conversions, upgrades. So this is more so from a lead perspective, not just e-commerce, because I think it's pretty easy to attribute something that's like more e-commerce related or purchase related than it is lead. So that's good. I think more data, obviously more first party data is just gonna be more important in my opinion. But yeah, so I mean, obviously better business data, you're gonna get better performance, and in this case, better AI performance. Next, I'm gonna go through this fast because if you want to actually watch the recap, they have like a 15-minute recap from Google themselves, and I just put it on 2.0 speed so that I'm not like just sitting through the hours. I don't know how long it is, but I'm not watching that, so I don't have time to do that. So I'm going fairly quickly. I'm just giving you the big executive overview for what happened in Google Marketing Live, and if any of these things interest you, we have the timestamps in the description for the video. You can just go through and do your own research and just kind of dive deeper. Fourth, demand gen is Google's Meta slash, excuse me, TikTok competitor. They've expanded demand gen into Google Maps, creator content, affiliate partnerships, and YouTube shopping. I think that's big just because a lot of people only run PMax. I think being able to understand that demand gen is actually really good if you have a lot of creatives, stills, images, videos, all of the above. I do use demand gen now. I used to only use Performance Max, but the fact that I'm diving deeper into more of search from a manual CPC side and very controlled, and then not really doing Performance Max. If they have, like, say, like, for instance, it's a lead gen client, but they have the account actually has a lot of images and videos, I'll tend to do search and then demand gen instead of search or Performance Max. But that's a different episode. But some of the big updates is the campaign type attributions, view through conversion optimization. So just updating how conversions are actually attributed, and demand gen uplift testing. So, I mean, yeah, I think the fact that they mentioned demand gen, you're probably going to see a lot of uh, stock put into what is considered a demand gen conversion. So how Performance Max back in the day would basically steal any conversion, even if it's really originated elsewhere. I think that's what they're really trying to do here with demand gen. So maybe if you do test it in the next 1 to 6 months, you'll begin to see really good results. But I'm always curious how the results fare if it's consistent after that initial push, because Google's really good at just being like, okay, that's your old news, let's move on to something else. But demand gen for now, good. Big takeaway is just try it out. Google's pushing a lot of stock into YouTube and demand gen, basically as full funnel social platforms. And yeah, I think it is important. YouTube is huge, and I think YouTube shopping is interesting. um, Expansion, it's just when you go on YouTube, you could kind of see underneath all, like how it would show on shopping on google.com, those shopping product listing ads. It's on YouTube now. So I think that integration is going to be key, just because, yeah, I do believe video is important. So number 5, creative is becoming AI generated. So this is huge. I think the Google Asset Studios or whatever they're really trying to push that also, because they put a lot of infrastructure and resources into that. Um, they're just really emphasizing AI video creation, image generation, AI copywriting, automated experimentation. All that is can be integrated into Google Ads. Big updates with Asset Studio, multimodal asset generation, one-click A/B testing. I think for this, creative production is becoming more automated, and it's more scalable. And for a lot of my clients, it is, just because some of my clients come to me with 2 photos. I'm like, what am I going to do with 2 photos? You're going to need more. And they maybe don't have the resources, or maybe their offering just doesn't lend for a lot of photos. And with AI, you can make those 2 photos into 10 or 15. Sometimes that's good enough. So I do believe in the AI asset creation or generation that YouTube or Google has within Google Ads. I think it's pretty decent. When you go into the actual assets and go into library and upload something and then give it a little bit of a description, I think it is really good, actually. Um, Number 6, measurement is becoming predictive. Google's admitting traditional attribution is flawed. Now the new focus is more of modeled conversions, future conversion prediction, incrementality, and then blended attribution. So it's always muddled, right? Attribution is always muddled. It's super hard for me to explain this sometimes to clients, that attribution is not going to be, even within the Google properties of Google Analytics versus Google Ads and your Shopify or whatever your backend is. Those might have 3 different numbers within a month regarding what you consider as a conversion or even purchase number. The importance is we're trying to move around that and find ways to improve that. If it be offline conversions, installing that, or one of the big updates they have is Google Tag Gateway. I spoke to a Google rep the other day, really pushing for Google Tag Gateway. If you have native Cloudflare installed into your backend already, I think that's a super easy fix. Just a matter of you linking it within the Google property and Cloudflare. So what that does is picks up maybe 7 to 14% of traffic that you would lose, either they're on some type of incognito or some type of VPN, and that just kind of falls between the cracks whenever you are doing things in Google Ads. And maybe that's where the discrepancy differences from your backend, Google Analytics, and Google Ads come from. So Google Tag Gateway, if it's already set up already, or basically if you have Cloudflare set up, it's just an easy thing, no brainer for you to do. But I think the takeaway here is just understand that Google really, wants the advertisers to trust, the data, and we can't have advertisers trust the data and put more resources into the budget if there's these lapses or gaps within the data where, what actually converted here, what was the search term, what was the, how come there's discrepancies versus conversions and conversion value. So the more that they mitigate there, the more they make that gap smaller. I think in Google's eyes, they're going to get more spend and more budget into their Google Ads accounts. So I think it's a win-win for Google to say, hey, we're working on this, we're working on measurements, becoming more predictive, and we admit that traditional conversion attribution is flawed, but we're trying to do some things about it in the future. Next, Ask Advisor. It's basically Google AI's marketing assistant. It's Gemini powered, and this is now inside your Google Ads, J4, Merchant Center, DVM 360, SA 360, CM 360. I mean, Gemini is everywhere. It's in your email. I actually use it. I have one um, freelancer that collaborates with me, and I'll ask her, hey, or I'll ask Gemini what campaigns does she work on, so I know exactly, okay, we've worked on like 30 campaigns already. This is the campaign that she needs to work on next. So I do believe integrating Gemini within all of these different properties it is helpful, but most of the time I'll go back to ChatGPT or Opteo, and I'll go there, and that's kind of where my baseline is, my notepad, and I'll go do most of my work there. Not really inside Gemini unless it's like my email. I don't think I've ever used Gemini inside Google Ads, but it's there. But yeah, they're saying that the setup for Ask Advisor will include like campaign setup, diagnostics. I mean, of course, you can do that reporting. You can say like the last 30 days, how did I do? Optimization suggestions and analytics explanation, which I think is all good. Makes our life easier, just makes it more clear what we have to do in life when AI is kind of layered on top. And this was kind of what Google Marketing Live, what it was about in 2026. It was about this in 2025, but more so now in 2026. So, biggest overall message to wrap up Google Marketing Live is basically just less about new features, but more about the one idea. And the one idea is AI should be in or participate in every stage of your advertising, marketing, business, everything from targeting, bidding, measurement, creatives, checkout, reporting, optimization. We want to Google, we want to make a fully AI marketing ecosystem. And I think the biggest ploy for why they want to market this is they know that PPC managers like me, we're a small sect of people. But if they can say, hey, business owner that knows nothing about Google Ads, this isn't so scary. You can just say, optimize my ads, create my ads, do all these things with AI. You, as a business owner, don't need to hire a PPC manager like me. You can just do it on your own, which is a huge mistake because there's so many pitfalls. If that was the case, and you would actually receive great results by not having a PPC manager, someone with experience into your account, then they could just literally go in, turn on all auto apply recommendations, and then optimize any recommendations to get that 100% optimization score. And then you're supposed to have great conversion value. But we all know that's incorrect. So I think this is a big ploy from Google to say, hey, we have all these Gemini related, AI related things within Google Ads from top to bottom. You can make the creatives here. You can create the copy. You can push it out. You can even optimize it. So you should spend XYZ money and not even, hire a PPC manager and just burn money. Just burn money on our platform. That's what I think. But some of the things I want to leave y'all, ponder some of these things. These are, I guess, good questions for you to ask yourself, or you could even put in the comments if you'd like. Do y'all believe keywords are becoming less important? Do you believe keywords are becoming important? Does AI reduce advertising control too much? Will agencies become more strategic or less necessary? Can advertisers trust predictive measurement? Is Google becoming the AI shopping mall of the internet? And will AI generated creatives become generic? Those are some of the questions I want to ask y'all. I'll leave y'all something to ponder. But yeah, I think Google Marketing Live 2026 wasn't about like better automation, which is really about Google handing over a lot of the marketing and advertising to AI. So that's kind of the gist of it. Yeah, that's basically what Google Marketing Live was. Well, yeah, if y'all have any questions, email us at theppccave@gmail.com. Go under any of our socials, comment, send me questions, DM. You could find me if you want Google Ads Management at Tempest59. That's tempest59.com. I still do that. You could find Ryan, I think is just email him. I think all of this will be in the description. So we release every Monday, 12 a.m. Mountain Time. And yeah, don't forget about Opteo, www.opteo.com/theppccave to upgrade your 14-day free trial to a 20-day trial. If there's nothing else, bye for now.